comes into a foundation where the last 11 head coaches have been to an NCAA tournament. We will attract top flight candidates for this job. There's much to offer. Our timeline is not going to be defined. We're not going to say we're hiring a coach by X date. However long or short it takes to find the right person is what we have to do. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions from our media.
How did Coach McDonald react?
It was tough. It was tough because, it happened pretty fast, this morning. So anytime, I've never been in that situation on that side of it, so it was a tough blow, I think, to him. But I also, believe that any coach, and we talk to our assistants about this, understand that we're in a business that's high profile and people demand results, and so I believe that he understood that.
Ross, in hindsight, is this a move that you wish you would have made at the end of last season instead of now?
No. Last season I thought we had enough facts, enough data to back up and to really define our process moving forward. And frankly, Ken was doing a really good job, doing a great job in the spring. We had a great semester academically. Last fall we had a 2.7 GPA, and that's way up from where we were last year. So we had a lot of positive things going. So no, I don't regret or wish we did something different last spring whatsoever. At that time, that was the right decision, and today's the right decision.
Russ, you talked about the healing process beginning now and not giving up on the season. What is the main? What has to happen for this to begin healing right now in your thoughts right now for it to happen?
To me, we need energy in our program. We need energy in our building. We had 1,800 people. Was the actual attendance last night. You always bump that, right? In sports, so you can count staff and things like that. But we had 1,800 people in our building last night, so we need energy in our building. I believe that the team needs an infusion of energy. They need a positive voice at this point in time, and that's what we're looking forward to. How many games we're going to win, we have no idea. But I know in looking at these guys in the eye this morning and seeing their pain and anguish the last few weeks, I believe that they're gonna focus, and we're gonna see something. Now, we get into the Sun Belt. We have 2 tough road games after we play Troy. I hope we do well, and I believe that these guys are going to do everything in their power to get us back to what we believe in.
Plus, was there any one game or moment that ultimately led you to make this decision?
Not necessarily. I mean, last night's game, to be sitting here today is somewhat, different, if you will, because of the way we lost that game. But we had to do what's right for the program and the bottom line. And there was not any one particular thing. I think it goes back to what I spoke of, the pattern, and just some of the things were creeping back in. And it's tough when you're losing. It's tough to have the confidence to perform at a certain level on the court and off the court when you're losing games. And so if you're fragile and those things start happening, then that's a tough situation. But there was not one particular instance. This week, a lot of thought, conversation, and we confirmed our decision last night, late last night after the game, and move forward with today's activities.
I guess, say if WKU would have won last night, would that have changed the decision at all? Or what was the timeline or the plan for that?
Well, I made this comment about our football program. One game doesn't define any coach by any means, but I think it's an overall body of work. And so the timing of it, we couldn't really predict that. We had certain ideas on when things might come together, but it's hard to speculate. I wish we would have won the game last night. We had a chance. We were right there at the end. We didn't, and we sat here today making the right decision based on a body of work.
What should the conference do about what happened last night? In your eyes, what would make it right?
Well, they've already made statements that they made an error, and they admitted that it shouldn't have happened. Beyond that, they're going to handle it, I believe, internally. The punishment for those 3 officials, whatever that is, will not be public, from my understanding. And I believe them that they'll take stern action. I know Mike was not pleased, and I know the officials regret it. I mean, they do. They regret what happened because they try to be perfect. I officiated for 8 years in college and after college, so I know that if you miss a call, you live with that. I officiated at a much lower level in those junior high and high school games, but you know that you try to do your best, and those guys are human. And so I know they regret it, and they'll do the right thing from a conference and Mike Wood perspective.
What kind of conversations you can have over the last few weeks kind of regarding his job performance?
We met right before the Louisville game. During that off week that the university was closed, we met on that Thursday. And then I talked to Ken a lot, whether it's in passing, whether it's official meetings. I met with the basketball staff on Monday, and I talked about the things we just talked about. If you ask, what needs to happen, I talked about energy, I talked about excitement, I talked about getting fans back in our building. And these guys know what WKU basketball is all about. They know the expectations. They know our fans want to see us do well and have a good basketball program, a great basketball program. So I don't think the expectation side of it catches anyone off guard. But we did have conversations over the last couple of weeks, and Ken and I have met a lot since I arrived.
How did the team react, and do you think this will affect any of the freshmen deciding to leave the program?
Well, they were tired this morning, so they were kind of slouched over a little bit in the chairs. But I saw a lot of head nodding in that meeting. I believe that they're excited about just turning the page and seeing what can happen these last 13 games in the tournament and beyond that. And as far as transferring, we'll talk to these guys. Coach Harper's already met with all of them one-on-one, and we want them to stay. We want them to get their degrees from WKU. We want them to be in our program. We believe they signed up for the program, and the program is the definition, not a coach. And so that's what our message will be to them, that we're going to hire a great head coach, whoever that might be, and we want them to continue in the program.
Ross, you mentioned making a change before any long-term damage was done. Could you describe what you mean by long-term?
Well, I think if you just look at our attendance trends as one element of that, you look at the financial implications of those trends. Those are the type of damages you're talking about, but you're also talking about the confidence level of our team. You're talking about the confidence level of our fans, not just coming to a game, but following us and tracking scores and being supportive, and walking around town, being able to say, hey, WKU basketball is doing a great job. And so that type of damage in terms of our reputation overall in performance on and off the court, that's what I'm referring to when it comes to that.
Julianne Williams with Commonwealth Broadcasting. I just wanted to ask, that the teams become close, they're a family, they grow close to each other, a head coach is like a father figure and things. What do you weigh in assessing what kind of damage will be done by breaking up the family at mid-season?
Well, and that's a very good question, and that's there's a lot of pressure to always make changes when something's not working from a perception standpoint. So you have to be very careful when you do a mid-season change, very careful. And my inclination and my examination of their body language, examination of our confidence as a program, I thought was continuing to go downhill, and therefore today we made that decision. So you have to always be careful of that, because that is one of the main reasons why you don't make a mid-season change, because we don't want them to think we're giving up on it, and we're not. But we had to do what we had to do to make the program get